What I also wanted to ask our speakers, but we won't have the time, is to what extent Europe and the US are in tune with each other on key macroeconomic policy issues. But we only have 15 minutes, so I would much rather ask our members of the audience to comment or ask their questions. And please indicate to me that you're willing to speak. Anyone? Yes, there is a hand here and there. These are 2 questions. Anybody else? Because we will take them all, and the 3rd question. Okay, so we'll take these 3 questions and return to the panel. If you could introduce yourselves as well.
Tracy McKibben, MAC Energy Advisors. I have one question, but there are 2 parts to it. And it relates to the bigger issue about how do we respond to the crisis and how do we come out of the crisis stronger. And there's the short-term answer and the long-term answer. And first, on the short-term answer, I wanted to get your views on sort of what do you see as the right organization or avenue to respond to this? So far, you've had very national approaches. The US has dealt with the banks in the way that they saw appropriate. The Europeans are dealing with the banks in the way that they see appropriate. And is there an institution, IMF, World Bank, that you see might be able to play a role to look across all of these national interests to come to a solution? Because not only is this a transatlantic problem, I know this conference is focusing primarily on that, but as you figure out what we do in the US and what happens in Europe, there are also external players, like what's happening in China, for example. The big discussion over the last couple of days has been about the currency issue, and is there an institution that has the ability to look at this crisis from a more global approach? So, and that's short term, believe it or not. The more longer term question touches a bit about the discussion on innovation and what should our approaches be going forward. And I appreciate your point about innovation is across a number of different industries. It's not just telecom, it's agricultural, it's energy. And coming from my background, I focus on alternative energy, and I appreciate your comment that that's not the solution. It won't be able to provide the kind of increase in revenues and the improvement in our economies that we want, but it can over a long term. And is there anyone who's looking at this long-term solution? Because that will be important. I know there's a need to respond immediately to what's happening in the crisis, but do we have a vision through our leaders, through the international community, about what are the areas that we should be focusing on to grow our economies, to innovate our economies, because I don't think that reliance on traditional economies is the answer in order to be competitive going forward.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, Pawel. My name is Sergiusz Najar. I had the pleasure working with Pawel during accession times with the government. And I'm now working with Spanish engineering and banking companies. So going ahead with this Spanish Latino mood, I will put a question in the sense of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, cholera, and love in times of cholera. So let's try to understand, and my question goes to the IMF representative, how we can dream about innovation in times of cholera we have now in the economy. I understand IMF is not about innovation. IMF is going to governments and saying, look, you have to make these cuts, these reductions, these austerity measures. So how it's possible that Poland and Central Eastern Europe can dream about overcoming civilization, I will say civilization barriers with infrastructure, energy, technologies, if we might go to austerity and to severe fiscal adjustment processes, not only because of euro, but also because of the forthcoming potential scenarios was rightly described by Mr. Morawiecki. Good news for you. These days, the parliament in Poland will set up a standing committee on new technologies and innovation. So it will be a good gesture, at least from the parliamentary perspective, to go in the direction you have pointed out. But coming back, what to do in the cholera times? IMF, what's your answer?
Thank you very much. And the last question, unless I see somebody's urgent needs, please. So this will be the 4th and the last, but please.
So, my name is Richard C. I have two questions. The first one is connected with innovation. You have been talking a lot about innovation, but in technological innovation, what one can innovate is limited. We've been talking about green technology, which is not giving the return that one wants. You have one of you is talking about classical manufacturing, which perhaps the future. My question is that what are the product, the innovation field that you think will be the future? And my second question is that you have not touched so much the question of market. And it seemed to me that there is a tendency now to instead to go to the global economy, but to go to a protectionist economy. So the market that you are talking about, or my question is it intended for the global market or for transatlantic market? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the last question or comment here. If you could use the microphone, yeah.
Yeah, my name is Walt Slocum. I'm a practicing lawyer. I used to be in the Defense Department. And my question as a citizen is, most of your comments have focused on increasing capital. What about stimulating demand?
What about stimulating?
Demand.
Demand, very good.